So good afternoon. My name is John Davies. I'm Chief Executive of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association UK, CPA UK, and I'm very pleased to have with me on the other end of the call the Right Honourable David Mundell MP. David, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here. And what we're trying to do is capture some impressions of members of Parliament as this pandemic plays out and how it's affecting your work. So can I ask you in the first instance, how in these early stages, what are the challenges you found to doing your job as an MP at this time?
The biggest challenge for me is that I'm not able to travel around my very large rural constituency. I represent one of the biggest constituencies in the United Kingdom, and I'm here in my home community of Moffat. I do travel to a nearby town where there's a supermarket, but otherwise, I'm not able to get out and about across the whole constituency and just get that feel, which I think is important, of what's happening, what's going on. So you're very reliant on social media channels, very reliant on existing contacts that we have in the various communities, telling us what's happening, what the issues are there. In addition, obviously, just to direct contact by constituents, either by email or on the telephone.
Have you found anything that's worked particularly well of those various ways of working?
I think that it's important to speak directly to as many people as possible. So most people that are in touch with me, I offer, even if they email me, I offer them opportunity to have a call to discuss issues. I think it's also people that we know in organisations, particularly that are supporting the community. I think it's very important to be proactive and give them a ring to see how they're getting on. We're proactively in contact with a lot of groups who are doing volunteering work, obviously to care homes in the constituency, to carers, just to hear those involved in the NHS. Being proactive, I think, is important as well. And also to get that full picture, because I think it's inevitable, and I think MPs in whatever parliament they might be in inevitably hear from people who've perhaps got a complaint or an issue, and that doesn't always give you a full perspective of what's going on. And these are legitimate concerns, legitimate issues. Of course, various support schemes our UK government's put in place, and indeed the Scottish government. There's always people who fall through the cracks, and they've got to have a voice.
Yeah.
But I think you also need to try and ensure that you've got the full perspective, and hear too from the people for whom, for example, things are have worked.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Today, David, as we speak down in Westminster, the House of Commons is meeting for the first time after recess, obviously with a very different setup. Any sort of early thoughts on how that is going to work, or any sort of early insights into that?
Well, I have a PMQ in the first Prime Minister's questions. I'll be delivering it from Moffat, which in itself will be a historic first for me in this community. I think we have to proceed with the basis of this level of scrutiny, but we can't suggest that it's the optimum way of doing things. It's a mechanism that we're having to use because of the circumstances that we find ourselves in, not because we think that this is the best way to do it. I think there will be lessons to be learned, and I think the House of Commons, can probably function much more effectively if we take on board some of the lessons. So, for example, I think committees could have more witnesses appearing by video link, saving them the time and effort of having to come to London. I think that's obvious. I participated in a training course using the tool Microsoft Teams, and that was, I found that very effective, rather than again having to be in London. But I think for actual scrutiny by parliamentarians, eyeball to eyeball is the best way, and that's what we want to return to. But we want to make sure that lessons are learned from whatever things we try during this process.
Yeah, thanks, David. That's great to hear. And I think if we may, perhaps we can come back and check in with you at a later point to see how that PMQ went and how you felt that went in terms of scrutiny of government and representing your constituents. And thanks also for those insights into some of the things you might want to keep after this enforced experimentation. I think again, maybe we can be back in touch after the committee I know you're a member of has met. But for today, thanks very much for that. I hope that's a useful exercise for you as well, and we'll share these thoughts and maybe come back to you at another point.
Well, thank you very much, John. I mean, I think it's useful, and I'm interested to see how other parliaments are adapting to these situations. And I think, again, as ever, there's a lot that we can learn too from how others have decided to respond to the situation that they find themselves in.
Absolutely, David. Thanks for this afternoon, and we'll be back in touch.
Thank you, John.